My name is Bryony, and I'm with the female lead. So, how did you personally connect to the role of Aretha?
So many ways. Like, first of all, I'm a fan and I grew up listening to Aretha Franklin. I also
Yeah,
grew up in a church like Aretha Franklin. So that musical background was already there. I was an aspiring singer, just like Miss Franklin. So it's like so many different parallels to me that I even learned more about when I was playing her.
yeah, that's amazing. Like, I was singing along to the songs as well. Like, yeah. What was it like working with a mostly POC cast?
I thought it was refreshing and new and done in a unique way, whereas like it's very rare we get to see films done by African Americans, then African American women telling a story about a female figure such as Aretha Franklin, and then the cast as well, living middle class, upper class, ministers, public figures, just legendary and iconic. So I thought it was beautiful to see us being reflected in such a light.
In the film, there's a moment where Aretha's mum is speaking to her, and she says, "Your daddy don't own your voice. Nobody does. And you don't have to fear any man. You are so worthy. Don't you ever let anyone tell you otherwise." So,
Wow.
what's one lesson that women can learn from the film and just Aretha's life in general?
Taking ownership and responsibility for yourself in that way, and just stepping up into the forefront and trusting that voice and owning it, because that is the arc of the film where you start off seeing men take the forefront on her behalf, but she didn't really get her strength until she owned it and until she stepped up to the plate, and there's power in that. So I think that's a great message to take away.
Yeah, definitely. And there's also a moment where she's with her sisters at like 3 a.m. and they're working on the song Respect. So is there a message in the power of sisterhood as well as that?
Oh, definitely. I always say if you have another woman around, then that's when we can rest the most. You know what I mean? Because you can split the difference of the load, honey. So, and like you, even in that particular scene, like they were lifting each other up. And then the man came out and tried to interfere in that, but they were still there to uphold each other. So yes.
So who are your female role models?
Well, I have a lot of personal ones. I have a lot of strong women in my family. That is a huge investment in who I've become. From my mother to my grandmother, my aunts, they taught us to be strong women and be confident and be independent and have confidence, and to take up space in a room. And then artists like Aretha Franklin and Whitney Houston and Patti LaBelle's and Barbara Streisand, you know what I mean? It's so, I just like to see people in their glory and celebrating themselves, and I find that inspiring.
So do you think a younger audience could definitely use Aretha as their own role model?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, because it's some really good life experiences and lessons in it that I think so many will be able to relate to. And she was timeless. So it's something where everybody can find something in it to be able to connect to. And I think it's also good with biopics for young. Those are my doggies. You hear that? That is MVP. I'm at home, girl. So to just be able to pull from and to see the triumphs and the things that she went through and she still prevailed. I think that's good for young people to be able to see and learn from. And then her music is just so dope. Okay. There is no musician that's been out there that has not been influenced by her.
Definitely. For me, the scene that struck me the most was when child Aretha turned around and she had a baby bump. That's been in my head since I've watched it.
Yes. I was speaking to a kid the other day who's 11, like last night, and he had the same reaction. Or guess what? My son is 12 years old. So when he saw that, he's like, she was my age.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. And it's insane to see how much things have changed since then.
Exactly.
But obviously we still have such a long way to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that must have been amazing for you to be a part of, in showing the history, basically.
Yeah. To be that bridge, to be able to help introduce it to generations like yourself and those,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.